Number 1. Real life in the Czech Republic. When you hear the Czech Republic, what comes to your mind first? Prague's fairy tale streets, giant castles, beautiful Czech women, or cheap beer? This small landlocked country sits in the heart of Central Europe, surrounded by Germany, Poland, Slovakia, and Austria. It has no ocean, no tropical beaches, and no giant global empire today. But it has something very powerful: old-world charm mixed with a sharp, modern personality. For centuries, this land was part of some of Europe's most powerful kingdoms and empires. It was shaped by the Holy Roman Empire, the Habsburg monarchy, 2 world wars, Nazi occupation, decades of communist rule, and finally, the Velvet Revolution in 1989, when Czechoslovakia peacefully broke free from communist control. In 1993, Czechoslovakia split peacefully into 2 countries, Czechia and Slovakia. No war, no dramatic collapse, just what many people call the Velvet Divorce. In a world where borders often change through violence, that alone is unusual. Today, Czechia is one of the most developed and visited countries in Central Europe. The capital, Prague, is the main star. Millions of tourists come to see Prague Castle, Charles Bridge, the Old Town Square, and the famous astronomical clock. At night, the city can feel almost unreal, with golden lights reflecting on the Vltava River. But real life in Czechia is not only Prague. Outside the capital, the country becomes quieter and more local. There are towns like Český Krumlov, with red rooftops and a river curving around the old center. There is Kutná Hora, famous for its strange bone church. There is Karlovy Vary, a spa town with colorful buildings and hot mineral springs. And there is Brno, the country's second largest city, with a younger, more relaxed energy. Czech people are also interesting in their own way. They are not always loud or overly friendly at first. If you are used to American small talk, Czech directness may feel a little cold. But once you understand it, it becomes part of the charm. What about you? Had you ever heard of Czechia before, or do you still call it the Czech Republic? And where in the world are you watching from? Share it in the comments below. Number 2. Czech women and modern life. If Prague looks like a fairy tale from the outside, then Czech women are one of the reasons this country feels so elegant in real life. Czech women are often admired for their natural beauty. Many have that classic Central European look: fair skin, sharp features, light eyes, blonde or brown hair, and a style that feels simple but attractive. They usually do not need to dress too loudly to stand out. A clean coat, good shoes, natural makeup, and quiet confidence are often enough. But Czech women are not just beautiful faces walking through old streets. They are also independent, practical, and direct. In Czech society, women study, work, travel, live alone, build careers, and make their own decisions. In cities like Prague, Brno, and Ostrava, you will see women working in offices, universities, hospitals, cafes, tourism, technology, design, and business. In relationships, personal space matters. Many Czech women value honesty and independence. They do not always expect men to act like movie heroes. They may prefer someone calm, reliable, funny, and real. So if you come here thinking charm alone will be enough, Prague may humble you faster than a cold winter morning. And when the sun goes down, Czechia shows another side. Prague has one of the most exciting nightlife scenes in Central Europe. The city is full of old beer halls, underground bars, jazz clubs, cocktail lounges, student pubs, and nightclubs hidden inside historic buildings. In the old town, the nightlife can feel crowded and touristy. But in neighborhoods like Vinohrady, Žižkov, and Karlín, you get a more local feeling. Young people meeting friends, drinking Czech beer, listening to music, and talking late into the night. Czech nightlife is not always flashy. It is more relaxed, social, and down-to-earth. People may start with beer in a pub, move to a bar, then end the night dancing somewhere underground. And because Czech people are often reserved during the day, nightlife can surprise you. After a few beers, the quiet Central European mood becomes much warmer. But don't mistake that openness for being easy to impress. A woman may enjoy a beer with you, laugh at your joke, and still judge your personality with surgical precision. Still, modern life is not easy for everyone. Housing in Prague has become expensive. Many young women face pressure from careers, relationships, family expectations, and the rising cost of living. So let me ask you, would you want to help a Czech woman release her stress and soothe her soul? Leave yes or no in the comments below. Number 3. The country where beer is almost a religion. Imagine going on a date with a beautiful Czech woman, sitting beside some of the cheapest beer in the world, inside an old pub where the walls have probably heard more secrets than most people ever will. That is Czechia. In many countries, beer is just a drink. But in the Czech Republic, beer feels almost like a national identity. People do not only drink it at parties or football games, they drink it with lunch, dinner, family gatherings, and quiet evenings with friends. And the numbers are almost unbelievable. No one in the world drinks more beer than the Czechs. On average, each person consumes around 33 gallons of beer every year, a record the country has held for decades. In many local pubs, a glass of beer can even be cheaper than a bottle of water. For travelers, that sounds like a joke. For locals, it is just normal life. The most famous name is Pilsner, which comes from the Czech city of Plzeň. In 1842, the beer style known as Pilsner was born here, and it later became one of the most copied beer styles on earth. So when you drink a pale golden lager almost anywhere in the world, there is a good chance it has some Czech influence behind it. But Czech beer is not only famous because of Pilsner. The country is also known for high-quality Saaz hops, grown for centuries around the town of Žatec. These hops give Czech beer that crisp, fresh, slightly herbal taste, and they are still among the most respected brewing ingredients in the world. Walk into a traditional Czech pub, and you may see people sitting with a cold glass of beer, eating roasted meat, goulash, sausages, or fried cheese. In Czechia, there are different ways to pour beer. Some glasses have more foam, some have less, and one famous style is almost all foam. To outsiders, it may look like someone forgot the beer part. And because normal beer is apparently not enough, the Czechs even turned it into wellness. In spa towns like Karlovy Vary, visitors can soak in large wooden tubs filled with warm beer ingredients like hops, malt, and brewer's yeast. Many beer spas even serve unlimited Czech beer while you bathe. You can book beer baths for 1 or 2 people, either sharing a tub or with separate tubs, about $95 to $155 for 1 hour. I've done this and it's fun and unique, but just keep in mind that the more you drink, the more you'll have to pee. Does it truly improve your health? That is still debatable. But for creativity, Czechia definitely deserves full points. This is also why Czech dating and nightlife feel so natural around beer. If you go out with a Czech woman, inviting her for a beer is not strange at all. It does not have to be dramatic or expensive. A relaxed pub, good conversation, dry humor, and a fresh Czech lager may work better than trying too hard in a fancy restaurant.
It's a bit bitter in general, the beer in the Czech Republic, but very...
Number 4. The church made of human bones. If you think you've seen strange churches before, wait until you step inside Sedlec ossuary. Hidden beneath a small chapel in the town of Kutná Hora, this place is decorated with the remains of roughly 60,000 people. The moment you walk in, you're surrounded by human bones, chandeliers, crosses, Coats of arms, decorative garlands, and massive bone pyramids fill the interior. The most famous feature is a giant chandelier containing nearly every type of bone found in the human body, hanging beneath a ceiling lined with skulls. So where did all these bones come from? The answer lies in centuries of tragedy. During the Black Death and later wars, the cemetery surrounding the church became one of the most desired burial grounds in Central Europe. Records suggest that in 1318 alone, about 30,000 victims of plague were buried here. As generations passed, the graveyard became overcrowded, forcing church officials to exhume older remains to make space for new burials. By the 15th century, a chapel was built specifically to store the growing mountains of bones. Then, in 1870, a local woodcarver named František Rindt was hired to organize them. Instead of simply stacking the remains away, he transformed them into the haunting masterpiece visitors see today. Number 5. The heaviest food in Europe. If there is one thing you should never do in the Czech Republic, it is start a diet before dinner. Czech food was not created for people counting calories on a phone app. It was made for cold winters, hard work, long days, and people who needed serious energy to survive. One of the country's most beloved dishes is svíčková, tender beef covered in a rich cream sauce made from root vegetables, usually served with large bread dumplings and cranberry sauce. It is creamy, heavy, comforting, and very Czech. Ask a Czech person whose grandmother makes the best version, and you may accidentally start a family debate. Then there is vepřo knedlo zelo, a mountain of roasted pork served with dumplings and sauerkraut. It is considered one of the national dishes, and it can easily leave you full for the rest of the day. This is not food you eat before running a marathon. This is food you eat before sitting quietly and respecting your stomach. Street food gets even more dangerous. One of the most popular snacks is smažený sír, which literally means fried cheese. It is a big block of cheese coated in breadcrumbs and deep fried until golden. Sometimes it is placed inside a bun and eaten almost like a burger. Imagine a cheeseburger where somebody forgot the meat and doubled the cheese instead. Honestly, not the worst mistake in history. But Czechia is not only about meat and cheese. If you have a sweet tooth, you should try one of my favorite Czech desserts, větrník, pronounced something like vjetřník. Větrník is similar to a profiterole or cream puff. It usually has 2 round halves of choux pastry filled with 2 kinds of cream, vanilla cream and caramel cream, then covered with a caramel glaze on top. It is soft, creamy, sweet, and exactly the kind of dessert that makes you say, "I'll just take one bite," right before finishing the whole thing. And in Prague, some places make it even more special. Gardens Restaurant serves a more unique version of větrník, with 3 types of cream, hazelnut candy, chocolate coating, and caramelized nuts. At that point, it is less like a dessert and more like a beautiful little calorie bomb, but a very delicious one. Czech people also have a deep mushroom obsession. Every autumn, millions of Czechs head into the forests with baskets, searching for wild mushrooms. For many families, mushroom hunting is not just a hobby. It is almost a national tradition passed down through generations. Some people know exactly where to go, but don't expect them to reveal their secret mushroom spots. In Czechia, that information may be protected more carefully than a bank password. Number 6. The strangest New Year traditions. Every country has its own way of welcoming the new year. In Spain, people race to eat 12 grapes at midnight for good luck. In Denmark, families smash old plates on their friends' doorsteps to show affection. In parts of Japan, temple bells ring 108 times to cleanse people of worldly desires. Meanwhile, in Brazil, millions dress entirely in white and jump over ocean waves to attract fortune. But the Czech Republic has some traditions that are just as unusual. For starters, many Czechs refuse to eat chicken, turkey, or duck on New Year's Day. Why? because they believe their luck might simply fly away with the birds. Instead, pork is the preferred meal, symbolizing progress and prosperity in the year ahead. Fish bring luck as well. After eating Christmas or New Year carp, some people keep a few fish scales inside their wallets. According to local superstition, those scales help attract money throughout the year. Then there's the tradition of eating lentils. A bowl of lentil soup is considered a symbol of wealth because the tiny lentils resemble coins. The more lentils on your plate, the more financial luck you're supposedly inviting into your life. And perhaps the most interesting belief is that whatever happens on January 1st can influence the rest of your year. Many people try to avoid arguments, debt, bad moods, or laziness because they fear those problems could follow them for the next 365 days. Number 7. The elevator that never stops. Imagine walking into an office building and seeing an elevator that never stops moving. No buttons, no doors, no waiting. Just a chain of open cabins constantly circling up and down the building. Welcome to the world of the Paternoster, one of the strangest elevators ever invented, and one that can still be found in parts of the Czech Republic today. Unlike a normal elevator, a Paternoster moves continuously through the building in a giant loop. If you want to ride it, you don't press a button and wait. You have to time your step perfectly, hop into a moving cabin, then step back out while it's still moving when you reach your floor. Miss your timing, and you're in for a very awkward few seconds. The system was first installed in 1884 in Dartford, England, by British engineer Peter Hart. Inspired by the movement of prayer beads, he created an elevator capable of carrying large numbers of people without forcing them to stand around waiting. During the first half of the 20th century, these elevators became surprisingly popular across Europe because they moved more passengers and saved valuable time. For people who were always late to work, they were brilliant. For safety inspectors, they were terrifying. Since the cabins never stop and have no doors, many countries eventually banned them entirely. Today, only a small number remain, mostly inside historic government buildings, city halls, police headquarters, and administrative offices. Germany still has the largest number in operation, with roughly 230 remaining. Number 8. The strangest places in Czechia. If you think the Czech Republic is just castles and beer, think again. Some of the country's most famous attractions are so unusual that they almost sound made up. Take Vinárna Čertovka in Prague. This tiny passageway is only about 20 inches wide at its narrowest point. It is so cramped that two adults cannot walk past each other, which is why traffic lights were installed at both ends. Before entering, you literally have to wait for the green light. It is probably one of the only places in the world where pedestrians can get stuck in traffic without a single car in sight. And yes, people have actually gotten stuck here. One famous story says a German female tourist tried to squeeze through the narrow passage, became trapped, and could not get out even with people pushing from behind. In the end, rescuers reportedly had to use soap to make the walls slippery enough to free her. Not exactly the kind of Prague memory you want to bring home. Just a short walk away stands the legendary Prague astronomical clock, first installed in 1410. More than 600 years later, it is still working. Every hour, crowds gather beneath it as skeletons, apostles, and other moving figures appear for a brief mechanical performance. According to a famous local legend, city leaders later blinded the clockmaker Master Hanush so he could never create a similar masterpiece anywhere else. Is the story true? Probably not. But in Prague, even the rumors feel old enough to deserve their own museum. And speaking of old mysteries, Prague also has the Museum of Alchemists and Magicians of Old Prague, located near Prague Castle, in a house connected to the famous alchemist Edward Kelly. This place takes you into the city's darker medieval imagination, when people believed in secret laboratories, potions, hidden knowledge, and the dream of turning ordinary metal into gold. It feels part museum, part ghost story, and part reminder that old Prague was not only beautiful, it was also mysterious. Then there is Idiom, an art installation by artist Matej Kren. At first, it sounds simple. Around 8,000 books stacked into a tall, cylindrical tower. But mirrors inside create the illusion of an endless tunnel of books going up and down forever. When you look into it, it feels like falling into a bottomless library. It is simple, strange, and a little dizzying, which is probably the most intellectual way to feel like you are about to fall into a hole. But Prague's weirdness is not always indoors. In the Wallenstein Garden, inside the grounds of a Baroque palace, there is the eerie dripstone wall. At first, it looks like a rough cave wall covered in dark stone. But the longer you stare, the stranger it becomes. Shapes seem to appear inside it. Faces, animals, monsters, snakes, and distorted figures. The garden itself is elegant and calm, but this wall feels like someone hid a nightmare inside a royal backyard. Number 9. Witch-burning night and a special Christmas. Christmas and spring celebrations in the Czech Republic can look a lot different from what you are used to. Take the night of April 30th. For example, across the country, people gather around enormous bonfires for a tradition known as witch-burning night. According to old folklore, this was the night when evil forces and witches were at their most powerful, roaming the countryside and threatening families, livestock, and crops. To protect themselves, villagers would light huge fires on hilltops and even throw burning broomsticks into the air, symbolically destroying the witches and weakening their powers. Today, nobody actually believes witches are flying around the countryside, but the tradition remains incredibly popular. As the flames rise into the night sky, people gather to sing, dance, play music, and roast sausages over the fire while celebrating the arrival of spring. And if you think that's strange, wait until Christmas arrives. In the town of Frankova Lhota, one of the most unusual holiday traditions takes place every year on December 3rd. Instead of cheerful Santa decorations, the streets suddenly fill with devils, demons, and terrifying creatures carrying sticks, chains, and even giant scythes. Some dress as horned monsters. Others wear costumes that look half demon, half animal. Their job is to wander through town, teasing, frightening, and playfully chasing people through the streets. The tradition comes from an old belief that during the Christmas season, good children would be rewarded by Saint Nicholas, while evil spirits would punish those who had behaved badly. Number 10. The tiny country that changed the world. For a country with fewer than 11 million people, the Czech Republic has had an unbelievably large impact on the modern world. In fact, every time you say the word robot, you're speaking a little bit of Czech. The term was first introduced in 1920 by Czech writer Karel Čapek in a play about artificial workers who eventually rebel against their creators. More than a century later, the word has become part of nearly every language on Earth, powering everything from science fiction movies to today's AI revolution. And that's only the beginning. If you wear contact lenses, you can thank Czech scientist Otto Wichterle. In the early 1960s, he created the world's first practical soft contact lens. The country also played a key role in unlocking one of biology's greatest mysteries. In a monastery located in what is now the Czech Republic, scientist Gregor Mendel spent years breeding pea plants and recording their traits. Those simple garden experiments became the foundation of modern genetics, helping scientists understand how characteristics are passed from one generation to the next. And then there's Franz Kafka, one of the most influential writers of the 20th century. Born and raised in Prague, His surreal stories became so famous that the word Kafkaesque entered the English language to describe bizarre, confusing, and nightmarish situations. Number 11. Surprisingly affordable living. Outside the most touristy areas of Prague, a good restaurant meal typically costs around $8 to $15, while a local beer can often be cheaper than a soft drink at just $2 to $3. Here's a secret. Some of Prague's expensive restaurants have much cheaper lunch menus, remarkably cheaper lunch menus. And it tends to be only locals that know about them, but these are fabulous places to splurge. Cotto Crudo is an Italian restaurant at the Four Seasons. The small outdoor seating area has a perfect view of Prague Castle, and I'd recommend reserving ahead there for the view, especially if you visit in summer. Don't miss the fun cocktails too. The 2-course business lunch is $32 and the 3-course business lunch is $43. Aromi is another Italian restaurant I adore in Prague, mainly for special occasions, tucked away in the chic Vinohrady neighborhood. Their food focuses heavily on seafood, but there's plenty to love for omnivores too. The business lunch is available for 2, 3, or 4 courses for $46, $55, or $1,262, including a carafe of water and a coffee. Public transportation is also remarkably affordable, allowing you to travel across the city for only a few dollars a day. Accommodation offers even better value. A comfortable mid-range hotel room can often be found for $60 to $120 per night, far below what you'd pay in many Western European capitals. For travelers, a realistic daily budget is around $50 to $100 per person, while $120 to $200 a day is enough to enjoy a very comfortable trip with good food, quality hotels, and plenty of sightseeing. If you've watched the video this far, the Czech Republic has probably surprised you. Give us a like if you enjoyed the journey. Subscribe for more fascinating places around the world. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next adventure.